My name is Vernelle, Perrin, Karsk, Werblow. I was born at Fremont, Nebraska, in the eastern part of town at a nursing home. My parents lived 2.5 miles north of Rogers,
Which is by
west of North Bend.
North Bend, Schuyler. Okay. And your parents' names were?
Carl and Nellie Perrin.
And your grandparents' names?
My grandparents' name, Antonio. Hubsa was her maiden name. That was my grandmother. The other grandmother was Ellen Clemens.
And they were born here, or that was the generation that came over from across seas?
Grandma Perrin would have come across. Ellen was born here.
Okay. An invention from your childhood, or?
I grew up with electricity. The rest of my kids at school did not.
Oh, really?
OPPD, Dad, and a mile west was the furthest they went.
Oh.
And so we had electricity, which means we had lights. Mother had an iron, and she had a washing machine. We didn't have a stove or all the other things. We just had lights. And it was a neighbor from church that did all the wiring of the house.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a string hanging down from the center of the ceiling. We had fixtures.
Sure.
I don't know who bought them.
Right.
The one fixture that was in my bedroom at home, when they were going to destroy the house, Bruce and Ellen wanted it.
Oh, yeah?
They have it in their upstairs bathroom. I just think it's beautiful.
Well, that's good, though.
Yeah.
Why not?
But I remember coming home from school. I think I was in first grade because I didn't go to kindergarten, and they turned on the lights.
Oh, really?
He had it all wired.
Ah.
And many homes still had lamps.
Yeah.
My great aunt Sia that lived up the road never did have electricity.
Really? Huh.
That
So
was
did
her
you-
choice.
So was there electricity when you went to school?
Well, let's see. Well, we didn't go to school at night. I don't know if there was or not. We didn't have indoor bathrooms. We didn't have indoor water.
Okay. Okay.
We just had a pump.
Okay. So how about,
We didn't have indoor water at home either.
Oh.
We went down to the windmill and you carry it up. Mom and Dad didn't get running water until I was married.
So do you have any memories of holidays? Did you have Christmas traditions, Thanksgiving as a child?
The farm that we lived on was the original Perrin farm. And it was rather a big house. Oh, the kitchen was small, but the dining room was large, and the living room was large, and Grandma's house was small. So the Perrins always come to our house.
Oh.
Always for Christmas. And,
was there something you did every year, maybe like on Christmas Eve
we went to church.
Went to church? So did you sing like Christmas carols?
Sure. My dad was always liked to sing.
Music was a large influence as a child? Was that something
yes.
both of your parents enjoyed? And
yeah. And on Saturday, either Mom or Dad went to town. I went to town and took a music lesson.
Oh, okay.
Always. got to drive the car back and forth to school because Dad needed him at home. I had to stay in town with my aunt and uncle and cousin.
Oh, and wait for someone to come pick you up or
on
take you
Friday
home?
night.
Ah.
I stayed all week.
Oh, you didn't even get to come home during the week. Oh. Okay. And so then after you graduated from high school, did you go on to a college or any type of additional training?
While I was in high school, they had what they call normal training, and you took it in the junior and senior year. And that was to prepare you to teach school.
Oh, okay.
And you could, if you passed, then you took tests at the county. You
Okay.
took tests. And if you passed them, then you could teach 3 years without any further schooling. And I did that. I did not get a school the first fall that I was out of school. I was just home with Mom and Dad. But then at Christmas time, a young lady was teaching at Jamestown School down northwest of Ames. And she got married. And you didn't teach school in the country after you got married. And so the county superintendent called to see if I wanted to teach, and I did. I taught there 2.5 years.
Okay.
No, I taught there 1.5 years because I started. And then the last year I taught at Rogers, lower grade.
Okay.
And that gave me enough money to start to go to college.
Ah, okay. So you did your 3 years like they told you could, and then after that you had to go back to school to be able. And then once you did that, was it? You got
I went 1 year and got married.
Oh. Okay.
But I didn't take the teacher's course. I went to ag when I went to college, and I took sewing and cooking and homemade. I got my degree from Midland a year before Beverly got hers.
Oh, really? Sorry, again, I'm kind of backtracking. How about any big...
I can remember that when Clarence and the guys were coming to get me, you know, you would be ready, and what I did, I sat down and played the piano when I was waiting for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The name, your husband's name, and when were you married, and is there any stories there? How did you meet? How long did you date?
I was teaching in Rogers, and Walt Johnson, the kid that went with me when I was in high school, was a friend of Walt's, and Walt had gotten married, and so and Walt and Clarence and another farmer boy, Leonard, they were good classmates. Well, not classmates, since Clarence didn't get to go to high school. His father said, girls can go to high school, boys don't. They're just going to be farmers.
Oh, okay.
So, but those three were, Clarence was the oldest of them, but they always thought they were the three musketeers.
Oh.
Well, I was teaching in Rogers, and one day I came out, and there was Walt, and he had Clarence with him, and they spent the afternoon at the pole hall.
Oh.
And I guess Clarence asked me for a date. They were going to show. This was during wartime too. So I went, and that started.
And do you remember what year was this? Or
Well, I could figure it out, but I had taught 3 years, and I spent a year at Ag. No,
So
I hadn't gone to Ag yet. This was the 3rd year at Rogers.
So you must have been like in your early 20s.
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Well,
Or somewhere
I wasn't
about that.
quite 21 when I got married, so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That answers a lot of questions. So what date did you get married, and where did you get married at?
October 22nd, 1944.
And so did you just was it
At the Purple King Church where I.
okay? So how long did you and do you remember how long you and Clarence dated before you got married?
We were dating. Okay, that was in the spring of the year. This was during the war time. That summer was my last year in 4-H, and I was queen.
Oh.
And then I left with Clarence and Walt and Leonard and Walt's wife, and my parents gave their permission. Question mark. Not happy. We went to Colorado and picked peaches.
Oh, fun.
You could get gas if you was going to be employed somewhere.
Yeah.
So we took Walt's car. It had a hole. It had a leak in the gas tank, so we chewed gum all the time to plug up the hole. And the guys picked peaches, and we just stayed in. It was.
But you did not pick peaches?
No. We just stayed in. Donna and I just stayed in the. We just had a row of single beds and out in the corn shed or something.
Oh. And then once you were married, you and Clarence lived where?
Clarence's folks always lived on a rented place that Mr. and Mrs. Kern owned. And when Clarence and I got married, Mr. Kern bought a little house in North Bend, west end of North Bend. We lived there we were married in October. We lived there. And we got a job at the flour plant for the winter. And then Mr. Kern bought another farm, 160 acres, and we moved there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we moved there in the next spring, in May.
And then that farm is where you and Clarence stayed there, and as you had children and.
Until he became ill.
Okay, sure. But when you returned to school, then you went to Midland here.
Because I was married and my
Yes.
youngest child started kindergarten.
Yes. Okay.
And there were a number of people around North Bend that were doing the same thing.
Oh, okay.
And we carpooled.
Oh, nice.
Go to night school.
Okay.
And we got our degrees.
Good.
Morgan and Ruth went to church just like we did. We were about the same age. Morgan was older than I was, but Ruth was in our UMW and so on. I knew the children. And my children, we went to visit them one time. And Morgan took the kids upstairs, and he had a train set.
Oh, sure.
And he cut a hole in the wall so this train could go over there. I never saw it, but the kids, Mom, he cut a hole in the wall. It was an older house, and they tore down that house and built a new one. They cut a hole in the wall. He told me that he sold that train set so they could buy a camper so they could go to camping.
Oh, wow.
Ruth became ill. They had 2 children. And Ruth became ill and was ill a long time. And well, I never even thought about it. But one time he called up after Ruth had passed away and asked if I wanted to go show. And I said, oh no. And then after I thought of it, Vernelle, that wasn't very nice. I guess you could go to the show. So I called him back up.
Yeah.
Morgan, I'll go to the show with you. So he had this pickup and we went, we'll go to Skyler. We won't see anybody that knows. Yeah, the next table was his next door neighbor. Anything I wanted to do, we could do.
Yeah. Good.
I remember when after Alan moved to Portland, Morgan just goes, we could go to Portland to see Alan. Well, I guess. Maybe we could go to Alaska. I guess.
Retired from your teaching, you just decided it's time for me to retire, or yeah?
I got to be 62.
Ah, okay.
And I decided that I wanted to walk out.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to shove me.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And the program lasted maybe 2 or 3 more years, and then